Welcome to the Chiropractic Podcast. I'm Dr. Todd Osborne, or Dr. Oz, as many of you know me. And it is my pleasure today to have with us Dr. Julie Mayer Hunt, who has been in practice many years in Clearwater, Florida. And she's an incredible chiropractor, incredible asset to our profession in general and helping other chiropractors. And she's actually in a third generation chiropractic practice, and she's the second generation. So I've got my daughter in practice with me, but she has the prestige of having her father, who I think graduated in 1957 from Palmer, and had that practice there for many years. Dr. Julie joined him when she graduated in 1981.
Yep. And
then her son Travis joined the practice just a few years ago.
2015.
Yeah. So, man, time flies. That's longer than I thought it was.
Time does
ago. And so they have a thriving upper cervical practice. She, is one of the top people in orthospinology technique and has taught that for years. She has been instrumental in the diplomate program for upper cervical, or the craniocervical junction procedures. She served on the Florida board and has fought for chiropractic and chiropractors' rights and trying to right the ship, as we might say,
and keeping drugs out.
and I can't tell you the number of awards she's gotten from Chiropractor of the Year in several different platforms, and Upper Cervical Chiropractor of the Year. But this is a dynamic lady, and probably her only thing that is a negative is she works too dang hard. And as much as anyone tries to tell her not to, I don't think it's going to matter, especially at this point, right, Julie?
Well,
so, anyways, she just does so much for the chiropractic profession. So, thank you for being on here today. If people don't know you, they should. You just spoke to our group here and just gave an incredible presentation on upper cervical chiropractic. But you've even been involved in pediatric. You're published in the pediatric textbook and so forth. So tell us just a little bit maybe about your history. You grew up with chiropractic, obviously, but it was kind of in your blood from early on.
Yeah, I was blessed to be born into a chiropractic family. My dad has practiced upper cervical since he opened the practice in February of 1958. I grew up in the practice. I went to school across the street, spent my afternoons there. My dad tells me at age 6, I stood there in the doorway of a treatment room and told him, "I'm going to be a chiropractor just like you one day." And he said something like, "I recall telling you, no, you're going to be better than me." And I'm like, "No, nobody can be better than you."
Right.
So I was very passionate about chiropractic and knew that was going to be my course in life. And honestly, it's never been work. It's just been joy.
Very good. Well, obviously people can tell that are around you, and and besides just running a dynamic practice and the thousands of patients that you've helped over time, you're just really into research and advancing chiropractic and in particularly the upper cervical
Yes.
realm of things. You do orthospinology, and you've risen to the top of that. But advancing that and the current research, and just what are you seeing right now in the research and what's going on, kind of just to get that out there for people to know what's going on?
Sure. I was very compelled to do a study on immune function back in 2011, 12, because I had 50 years plus of records of patients who had come under care, and as they're under care wellness level, they make comments to me like, I no longer get colds like I used to. I mean, it's been years since I've had any bug. I just, it's a whole different picture. They're not missing time from work, or kids missing time from school. They're just, one of the reasons I have had an RN running my office for the last 10 years was her daughters were in school with my son, and she was like, that son never misses a day of school, ever.
Right.
Never. And she says, what is she doing with him? And she came in, and one of her daughters had a very complex case that medically had been horrifically overlooked, that I nailed and got handled properly. And she's like, I want to run your office. I want to be a part of what you're doing here.
Wow.
So,
I've never heard that story before.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yeah. She was an amazing situation. But, she said what drew me to come to see you with my daughter was, what are you doing with your son? Nobody has that type of health record. But, Travis never missed a day of school, never took an antibiotic, never took an aspirin. When he was in college, he was surprised to find out what people use aspirin for, because the only thing he'd seen me use it for was to put in a vase of flowers that were starting to wilt, and I'd put an aspirin in there to pop up the flowers for another day or so before they went south. That's what he thought aspirin was for.
There you go.
So,
well, that's a good way to grow up, and obviously he's joined the practice now,
yes.
and I even see that he's speaking now.
Yes, he
and
presented last weekend.
Maybe take a little bit of heat off of Mom, because you go out and speak in, I don't know that you ever say no, unless you're double booked is the only
correct.
time. But you are so willing to go out, share with chiropractors, help other chiropractors. I mean, and I don't mean just from training them in technique and so forth, but I mean, you're always reaching out to me. Do I know anybody that can help this chiropractor with
Right.
selling their practice or moving or helping
Yeah.
them with their practice through AMC or whatever it is?
Yeah.
You have a heart for chiropractic, but like similar to Dr. Owen that we talk about, he loved chiropractors.
Yes.
And you just
Well,
do that all the time.
He and my dad were very close back in the day when they drove to Florida to take the state board from Davenport all night with several other guys in the car. And
Yeah, and your dad was actually here some years ago
Yes.
with Dr. Owen.
Yes.
And I got them talking, and
Oh.
we got to hear some of those stories.
Yes.
Beyond that, we were in school
Yes.
back in the 50s and that, and
Yeah.
the car ride. And when you hear some of those stories back then, you realize that God had a purpose for these
Yes.
these gentlemen. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have survived all the antics and things that.
Well, there was a guy who fell asleep at the wheel
Yes.
in the middle of the night, but somehow they got the car righted and dealt with it.
Yeah, they went. I forget what they said. Went off
Yeah.
the road and came back on, and then I think your dad said, I was taking a nap, but I was wide awake then, and I said, I'm driving now.
Yes.
To get down
You
to
are
Florida
right.
to take the boards.
Yeah.
So, currently you and I were talking, you're seeing all this research and what we say, I don't need the research. I've seen this happening for 30 years.
Yeah.
I know that I know that I know.
Right.
And where we have some in chiropractic, whether it be the schools or the CC or whoever you want to put that blame on, but our choices over time have started to steer us away from, what your dad and Dr. Owen in the 50s were, why they became chiropractors and what
Exactly.
they knew as chiropractic and what you and I knew as chiropractic and when we were going through school in the 80s, and then what it is today. And it seems that the profession has, or portions of the profession or the government or whatever you want to say, has started to move us away from what chiropractic really is that we know and trying to redefine that but yet your and I experiences and the newer current research that's coming out is actually showing no, exactly what you guys said is happening. That's what the current research is showing. And what's your thoughts on that, of where the chiropractic profession has kind of gone since '81, and you're 40 plus years in chiropractic?
Yeah, I think that's one of the main reasons it was heavy on my heart to get the research out there about immune function in upper cervical care. And I humbly realized one night as I was working on putting the project together that it just could not be about one office. And that's when I sat down and looked at the current class of diplomates in this 3-year program that I do the curriculum for. And I picked the top 6 doctors who do upper cervical work but slightly different procedures, whether it's Blair or AO or NUCA, orthospinology, knee chest. I picked those doctors very carefully, and then I funded an immune study to get the word out there about immune function and upper cervical care. Of course, I had no idea what was coming down the road technically, but I had that study completed. It's a salivary IgA, SIGA, to measure the spit before and after the adjustment and see the changes in the immune physiological response. And across the board, all of these candidate patients who participated were healthy participants. It was simply neck and back complaints. They couldn't have comorbidities or autoimmune issues. It was just kind of straight neuromuscular complaints, neck or back pain type thing. But they all saw a marked increase in their immune response after the adjustment within 30 minutes. And then 2 weeks later, we checked it again because they were all healthy. It had come back down. So we were looking at how to measure that to get the word out there about where your immune function comes from. Because at the end of the day, that's what we need to know. It's not what drug you can take or this or that. We need to know where the strength of our immune function is. And I'm sure, like you saw lots of patients during COVID.
Absolutely.
I'll share one with you. Have a fitness trainer. He's honestly an Adonis of a man. I mean, he is just so physically fit, and I've worked with him for decades. And his wife called me one Sunday, and she was in tears, and she said, "I'm afraid he's going to die. He's had COVID for 2 weeks." And I said, "I'm coming over." And I said, "Put an extension cord out on the driveway." She goes, "How about the back porch?" I said, "No, I want out in the sunlight. I don't want to be on a back porch." So I brought my portable table, and we pulled up in their driveway, and I set up my table, and Joe is his name. He's walking out from the house, and to see him walk, he was taking like a half to a third of a step at a time. This is a man who cycles hundreds of miles every week. I mean, he is not ambulating well at all. I get him to the table, I had him lay down, and I had him lift one leg and lift the other leg. He could lift neither leg, couldn't move him. I got him adjusted, had him back on his back. His right leg, boom, came up 90 degrees. His wife, who's standing at the garage bay door, is now bawling. She's, but the left leg will not move. And I'm checking him, I got him clear, but as I palpate his right kidney area, it is so hot, and I don't know how to describe this. It's from my palpation skills. I feel muscle spasms, I feel masses. I mean, the kidney was so hot. I said, "Joe, you need to go to the ER. And his wife is going, "I've been trying to get him to go to the ER. He won't go." I said, "Get in the car, Eileen. Back up the car. Joe, you're getting in the car." I figure God made me 6'2" for a reason.
There you go.
Got Joe in the car, and they went to the ER. He got to the ER. First time in 2 weeks. They were about 30 minutes away, less than 30. He had no fever for the first time. No fever. They found his kidney was severely dehydrated. They gave him 2 bags of fluid, sent him home. Within days, he was back at his fitness center training people. I mean, just dramatic change. Right. And I can share story after story, but what I did was get him aligned after his body had been through this fight with the fever, et cetera, et cetera. And honestly, I've never checked, I don't know about you, but I've never checked a child that's had a fever that's been clear.
Right.
I've never checked an adult that's been through a fever who's been clear and subluxation free. There's something about whatever goes on there that the body goes into fight, and that alignment doesn't always survive that.
Yeah.
So getting that realigned reestablishes that brain-body communication and that power that heals the body.
Yeah, and that sympathetic parasympathetic balance
Exactly.
comes back. And so it's interesting. I think it was Keith Wassung the other day I was listening to, and he goes, I just don't like we boost the immune system. And he goes, technically, yeah, that's what we're seeing. It looks like a boost, but we're actually just rebalancing. Or letting it regulate the way it's supposed to run. And, you know, we're always lean towards, there's some kind of neurological insult and it's shutting off the nerve. And he goes, I think along those same lines, there's a neurological insult, but it's stimulating or overstimulating the nerve system, kind of like you were talking about when the blood vessel is banging up against the brainstem on every heartbeat, and stimulating that area.
Right.
And so I think that's where we need to get back to, this is shut off and we're turning it on. And I know that was a big thing. The lights are turned back on. You know, we've said in chiropractic for years. But it's more just getting the body back to regulating the way God designed it to regulate.
Exactly. That homeostasis. That's a critical balance for all of us.
Exactly. And I think, you know, as we talk about the, you know, moving, I think that's where we've moved away from that. And whether that's going more to a mechanistic and instead of vitalistic, but that, you know, that's what chiropractic has always done, is just restored the homeostasis so the body can function the way God meant it to function.
Yeah.
And I think it is neat that we are getting to the point of science and research. We're now have the tools to be able to actually show these results that, you know, chiropractors back in the 20s, 30s, 40s were saying this, and this is happening.
Yes.
But obviously they did not have the technology back then to be able to, you know, prove that,
assess,
if you will.
Yeah.
And so what we've seen now, I'm excited about, because we are starting to, not only in this country, maybe start to question our healthcare and some of the things that have put out there, and we're getting the technology to be able to go, okay, you know what? We've been saying this. We've been saying that people's immune system does better when they're in adjustment. And you're, you know, just
the immune study
one that you did shows that, and
yes.
and then there's even bigger tools above and beyond that to go down the road.
Some really good news is that that immune study, I got it done by 2020. I wanted to wallpaper the walls with it once it was published, because I want people to know where their immune strength comes from. But what's interesting, Ray Drury, one of his colleagues is RFK's upper cervical doctor. And so through Ray, I was able to get that study on RFK's desk.
Oh, wow. That is fantastic.
So, and as I said earlier, I now am connecting pediatric groups to work together to do a pediatric immune study from the time they can spit till they're 18, and help parents know where their kids' immune strength comes from, the reality, the real deal.
Yeah, exactly. And then they can make their own decisions on things. It's like, okay, here's the facts. Here's, you know, here's what's going on. Now, what, you know, it's still your child to raise, and those decisions are yours to make.
Correct.
But at least now you have
data,
the information to make an intelligent decision.
Yes.
Instead of just listening to, I believe this or I believe that. and so they're actually able to see the facts about the.
That's what I'm led to do at this point. So
And,
I'm in the process of organizing that meeting here in the next couple weeks and get the ball rolling on this.
Fantastic. Well, we appreciate all that you do with that, and just mentioning the current administration, and I don't care what your political leaning is, but when I look at it from a healthcare standpoint and a chiropractic standpoint, we have never had a better opportunity than we do right now over the next few years with the people that are in place that will at least start asking the questions and listening to natural health side of things,
Right.
or eliminating toxins and things that are detrimental to our health instead of helping with our health.
Yeah. Like
So-
I'm questioning this plastic bottle I'm drinking out of, but
Right.
that's another story.
Exactly. And we can go into that, and I've recently done some cellular inflammation and detox stuff that has made a huge difference in me, and when you do that, it's amazing how much better you hold your adjustments.
Yes, that is the truth.
And so forth. So it all works together for sure. And but the chiropractic principle is got to remain our baseline. All these other things, that's great that we can help people nutritionally and that
Amen.
and design that, whether it's inside our profession or working alongside with other people that do these things and co-aligning with that. But I don't care. You can detoxify someone, you can give them all the greatest nutrition in the world, but if there's an insult on their nervous system through the spine, they're going to have problems.
Well, like that young man who gave his testimony on one of my slides, he started with me at age 9 with a 38-degree curvature and headed for 2 rods in 6 weeks.
Right.
And God blessed me with an opportunity to work with him, and 5 weeks later he was down to 1 degree. Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, that you can't walk away from those results. You could do all the nutrition detox you want with him, but it's not going to straighten out the spinal dynamics.
No, exactly.
And he's an incredible golfer. He did his undergrad on a golf scholarship at Stetson, and he's had 4 or 5 shots at the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
What young man with 2 rods in his back accomplishes that in golf?
Yeah, and
Much less the
and
rest
where would
of
he
his
be
life.
in just life in general?
Yeah.
Forget golf.
Yeah, and now he's an incredible upper cervical practitioner
Yeah.
because he wants to get results for people like I got for him.
Exactly. But Dr. Julie, that you can't straighten out a 38-degree curve. But
If they're 9 years old, I did.
yeah, and that's one of my favorite quotes Dr. Owen used to say all the time. People that say that things can't be done are usually rudely interrupted by someone doing it. And that's what I love about you, Dr. Julie, is that you're out there doing it. And people can naysay this and naysay that, but you've seen it, you're doing it, but you also step up to tell people about it, to reach out to other chiropractors about it, to do the research and those things necessary. So you're just a great asset to all of the chiropractic profession.
Well, thank you.
And I would just like to say I appreciate everything you've done and in my life and in chiropractic, and even having my daughter come in and intern with you for 3 months.
That was awesome.
Back in the day. And, I always talk about that and her having that, opportunity to come in and study under the people that she was able to study under. And she's like you. I'm like, I said, she's going to be better than me, and she has done that.
Funny, my dad said the same thing.
And that type of thing. And so, and I would expect Travis to get there one day too.
Yes, I do too.
And be to that level. So I appreciate you being on with us. Anything
Thank you.
else you'd like to say to the chiropractic profession, or anything to put out there before we sign off?
Just everybody make sure your head's on straight.
There you go. Exactly. Well, thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Julie Mayer Hunt. for being with us, and thank you for listening to the Chiropractic Podcast. And if you'd like any more information on Aligned AMC, amcfamily.com, you can get a lot more information there. And until the next episode, we'll see you then.
Fantastic. Thank you.